The NBA is the best league in the world because of a perfect mix of culture and the game. Some leagues, like the NFL, have a great game, but they don't care about their players. The NBA has it all, and a great example of this is on the Dallas Mavericks. This video reveals the tragic story of Dwight Powell. By the end, I promise you will be inspired, and he will be one of your favorite players. Hey, it's Casey. This is AM Hoops. I used to cover the NBA on TV for years, but now I'm here to help put the league in perspective and tell stories about why it is the best league in the world. Like Dwight Powell, who makes over $10 million a year, dates a fitness instructor, and is friends with Boban Marjanovic. Yeah, pretty sweet life. But he would trade all that money in a second to have one person back. Yes, his story has major tragedy, but I'm not talking about his Achilles tear. Injury took basketball away for almost a full year, but he almost didn't play hoops at all. Dwight is from Canada. He grew up without a dad. His single mom went to night school and worked her way up from teller at a bank to the vice president. So he knew all about hard work, which helped getting such a late start. Dwight didn't play basketball until the 9th grade. The summer before, he was riding on public transportation in Toronto, where he's from. A basketball coach used to see him on that bus and then walk into the gym all the time. But he didn't go to the basketball court. So the coach, named Vlad Matevsky, one day asked him, "What is going on?" The 6'6" 8th grader told him, "I'm here to practice the high jump." Vlad knew the kid had something special, but he said, quote, "He had no skill, just raw talent, but I told him and his mom, listen, let's put in some work. You have a bright future out there." Dwight remembers that time in his life. Quote, "I had never played on any teams outside of school other than soccer. No hockey, no basketball." So his whole life would have been completely different if not for some random meeting. Instead, Coach Vlad took Dwight under his wing and taught him how to play hoops. Powell competed in that gym against other Canadian prospects, including Tristan Thompson. When it was clear he had a future, Dwight moved to the United States to accept a high school scholarship at IMG Academy as a senior in high school. He earned college scholarship offers from Harvard and Georgia Tech, but he chose Stanford because they provided great athletics and academics. Dwight was not a one-and-done guy, even as a skilled 6'10" player. He had a lot to learn, and he was about to be a junior at Stanford when his life suddenly changed. He was back at Toronto practicing with the national team when he got a call and flew to Boston, where his mom was running a major US bank at the time. He arrived, and after 3 days, she was dead. Jacqueline Weir had terminal breast cancer, but kept it from her son so he could excel on the court without distractions and secure his future. She endured all those cancer treatments and knowing she would probably die alone. I cannot imagine the pain that Dwight must have felt at that time, losing his mom when it was just her and him growing up. I mean, Coach Vlad introduced him to basketball, sure, but for him to go from a 9th grader to a college scholarship that quick, he had to put in hard work that he learned from his mom. Again, she went to night school to earn a degree as a single mother, then worked from the bottom for 35 years to the top of the New York Mellon Bank. That is an inspirational story, but then a tragic one for Dwight. His entire Stanford basketball team flew out to Boston to attend the funeral. When they flew back, the 2012-13 season began, and Dwight went off. He responded to tragedy with his best season yet. Dwight was first team All Pac-12, Pac-12 Most Improved Player of the Year. He started all 34 games and was on NBA teams' radar. It was possible to cash in on that buzz early and try to stick on an NBA roster, but in those final days with his mom in the hospital, Dwight had promised her he would earn that college degree. After all, she had worked so hard for hers. So he played that senior year at Stanford, was first team all-conference again. He left with a science, technology, and society degree. So Dwight is a huge inspiration at this point, and he's not even in the league yet. I'm sure he was glad to get that degree after he graduated, because it seemed like NBA teams didn't even want him. I mean, yes, he was drafted, but it was 45th overall in 2014 during a commercial break, so he didn't hear his name. Then he was traded on draft night from the Hornets to the Cavs, from the Cavs to the Celtics before training camp, then to Dallas before Christmas as a rookie. That hard work in the league took him from a G League player to a $47 million deal in 2 years, then another $33 million in 2019. Dwight was even more obsessed with basketball and became one of the best rim rollers in the league. He chose number 7 on the Mavericks to remember his mom. Dwight was born at 7 a.m., she died at 7 p.m. That number means a lot. So does a motto his mom left behind. Dwight says, quote, "She taught me that you don't get what you deserve, you get what you get. You gotta do the best with what you have and not make excuses or feel sorry for yourself." That advice was key coming up in the league and also on the way down. His Achilles popped in a game last season. Dwight said it felt like someone kicked him from behind, and he knew exactly what it was because teammates Wes Matthews and JJ Barea described that same feeling. The Mavs lost one of their culture cornerstones and a good player, but he did join them in the bubble as the Mavs lost to the Clippers in round 1. Dwight continued his rehab back in Dallas with his trademark hard work, but he also did time helping the community. Dwight Powell's resume for helping off the court is more impressive than his work on it. He started a foundation called the Dwight Powell Children and Family Support Fund that helps patients and their kids cope with cancer. He won the 2020 NBA Cares Assist Award for helping the community, including work at Christmas. When the pandemic hit, Dwight helped raise $500,000 to help with childcare and meals for frontline workers. He helped represent the Mavericks during a vigil for George Floyd after his murder outside of the Dallas Police headquarters. Then he was the only player involved helping DPD adopt new policies to curb police brutality. And that's why Dwight Powell's story makes the NBA the best league in the world. They put their people first and help support their mission. Dwight Powell is an underdog, hard-working player that puts others first on and off the court. He's an inspiration working through tragedy to make his dream come true. But this season, how is he looking for the Mavs on the court? Not great, but that's understandable coming off an Achilles tear. Coach Rick Carlisle isn't leaning on Dwight too much, just about 15 minutes per game. But even if he's not playing a ton, he is still a rock for their culture, which is not a surprise when you know his tragic but inspirational story.